Just ahead on the 30-minute news, Wyley Gates' legal battle is apparently not over yet. That word from his attorney after Gates' sentencing today. And Albany police are looking for a hit-and-run driver.
Town of Lake George is looking for some new fire equipment. Officials there say they're facing a crisis after the loss of their second truck. That story, a whole lot more, all headed your way next here on the 30-minute news.
This is WNYT, Albany. Dague, Chris Kapostasy, meteorologist Herb Stevens, and Bob McNamara on sports. This is the 30-minute news.
Good evening. We're going to discuss two very different but very difficult legal decisions tonight, one national and one local.
The national one is the decision on the third Supreme Court nominee. That is yet to come, but the decision on Wyley Gates was made today. Gates has received the maximum possible sentence for conspiring to kill his family. Columbia County Judge John Lehman sentenced Gates to 8 1/3 to 25 years in prison. The 18-year-old honors student will not be eligible for parole until 1995. Last month, Gates acquitted of actually carrying out the murders, and today defense attorney Charles Wilcox asked for leniency.
In light of Wyley's age, and in light of the evidence submitted, and in light of the fact that the jury decided that he didn't do the shootings, and he didn't, and that what he did was really talk about it in conjunction with his mental status, we were hoping for something a little better, but the judge did apparently what he felt he had to do in the community.
Gates' attorney, Charles Wilcox, says he will appeal the conspiracy conviction, but that's not the end of it, because in civil court, Gates has been hit with a $500,000 wrongful death lawsuit by the family of the victim, Cheryl Brown.
An Albany pedestrian was critically injured tonight when he was struck by a hit-and-run driver in Arbor Hill. Passers-by found the victim lying on Livingston Avenue near Northern Boulevard shortly after 7 p.m. 200 yards away was the car believed to have been abandoned by the hit-and-run driver. Residents say a man who was apparently drunk jumped out of the car, ran away, then came back to try to start the '69 Buick Skylark before running away a second time. At this hour, there's no word on the identity of the driver or the victim. The Lake George Volunteer Fire Department got a major shock this weekend as it lost one of its trucks during a downtown blaze. Today, village officials met to deal with that problem, and Bill Lambdin was there.
By all accounts, the Lake George Volunteer Fire Department and the surrounding companies that were helping did a very good job in limiting the weekend blaze to Delavan's restaurant, saving nearby buildings. But if this blaze had been in one of the many parts of their fire district without hydrants, it could have been much worse. The department's ladder pumper conked out on arrival. The truck was actually in danger of burning. The damage can probably be repaired fairly soon. It will have to be because Lake George is already without a tanker pumper badly damaged in a car accident this summer. 2 broken pieces of equipment are too many for this small department. Today, fire officials delivered that message to the village board, which split on what to do. By a 3-2 vote, the board decided to refurbish its damaged apparatus rather than spend 6 additional months and perhaps $40,000 extra for something new. Fire safety is always relative, but it's a question that has to be asked. Are the people in the village, and particularly the town of Lake George, safe as things stand now?
We do have methods of saving lives and protecting you, and you are not in danger.
But while the department waits for fully working equipment, it will have to depend more than it would like on help from surrounding communities. Bill Lambdin, the 30-minute news, Lake George.
The demonstration was peaceful tonight at Syracuse University when Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan gave a speech. Hundreds demonstrated against the Farrakhan visit. Members of the Jewish Defense Organization had said they would be armed at tonight's rally. A leader of the group tried to stop the speech, chanting, "Farrakhan's a racist." His cries, however, were drowned out by a group of students singing, "God Bless America."
Governor Cuomo was in Westchester County today to speak to the New York Summit on Black and Hispanic children, and there he attacked the Reagan administration for cutting back on programs for children and the poor. The governor also had some thoughts about the way this country picks its Supreme Court nominees. He said this nation's priorities are wacky, that people should be more concerned about the issues than whether nominees had smoked pot. And it was, of course, the issue of smoking marijuana that drove Douglas Ginsburg out of the nomination process. It now looks as if a federal judge from California is the leading candidate to sit in the nation's highest court. Anthony Kennedy now tops the list in what has been an embarrassing process for the Reagan administration.
The president was still smarting today over Ginsburg's sudden withdrawal. At first, he charged the judge was forced out by unnamed people.
He chose to leave in view of the harassment that was coming.
But moments later, Mr. Reagan retreated to Ginsburg's withdrawal statement. Dropping the charge, he was harassed.
Maybe that was the wrong word. Maybe I should use, but he used the right word in his very fine statement, and that was the clamor that arose.
While the president was having trouble figuring whom to blame, conservative Senator Orrin Hatch was not, saying the White House, from Mr. Reagan on down, deserted Ginsburg.
There are gutless wonders down there who do not back the president when he needs it, who do not stand up the way they should, and who undermine some of the things the president is trying to do.
What the president is trying to do now is find someone who can be confirmed, and officials say federal Judge Anthony Kennedy is the front-runner. White House Chief of Staff Baker and Attorney General Meese questioned him yesterday about his background, including whether he ever took drugs. They found no problems and interviewed no other candidates. But conservative Senators Hatch and Jesse Helms are a problem, claiming Kennedy is too moderate. All this reflects the growing sense among the president and top aides that this nomination has turned from an opportunity into an embarrassment that demonstrates disarray in the White House. Chris Wallace, NBC News, at the White House.
Clerical workers at the New York Stock Exchange voted tonight to go on strike tomorrow, but the market will be open as usual. Floor reporters, clerks, secretaries, maintenance workers voted 2-1 to strike over the issue of pension improvements. A vice president of the exchange said management and supervisory personnel will fill in for the strikers tomorrow.
Still to come on this edition of the 30-Minute News, relations between the United States and Nicaragua could be on the mend. Details when we return.
The 30-Minute News is brought to you in part by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Relations between the United States and Nicaragua could be heading for a slight thaw after being in a deep freeze for at least 3 years. President Reagan says he's willing to reopen talks with Nicaragua's leftist Sandinista regime, but only under certain circumstances.
With the Organization of American States meeting in Washington, it was a good time and a good forum for the Reagan administration to push its new and more conciliatory line.
When serious negotiations between the Sandinistas and the freedom fighters under the mediation of Cardinal Obando are underway, Secretary Schultz will be ready to meet jointly with the foreign ministers of all 5 Central American nations, including the Sandinistas' representative.
Schultz said he could meet Nicaragua's President Ortega this week at the OAS meeting if Ortega moves immediately to negotiate with the Contras and to make more democratic reforms.
Doesn't take long to let people out of jail. All you have to do is unlock the doors. Doesn't take long to approve applications for publication. All you have to do is check the approve box.
With Congress apparently dead set against more combat aid for the Contras, President Reagan's advisors have persuaded him to talk peace, not tough, especially after Ortega offered indirect negotiations with the Contras for a ceasefire, with Cardinal Obando y Bravo acting as go-between.
John Cochran, NBC News, the State Department.
While those negotiations for a Central American peace are yet to get underway, Arab leaders called a summit today to try to put an end to the 7-year-old Persian Gulf War. However, Iran says it will resist any peace effort that comes from the Arab world. And Iran used its military strength today to demonstrate it won't be intimidated by diplomatic pressure to end its war with Iraq. Iran says 2 missiles were fired at a military garrison in northern Iraq only after Iraqi civilians were warned to evacuate. The attack came after a 24-hour-long Iranian shelling of Basra, Iraq's 2nd largest city. The Irish Republican Army has now assumed responsibility for Sunday's bombing in Northern Ireland that killed 11 civilians and wounded more than 60. The group apologized for the civilian casualties, saying the bomb was intended for British security forces. The IRA claims that bomb went off prematurely, that it should have gone off as troops marched by during ceremonies to honor fallen British troops.
Forest fires continue to rage out of control tonight in parts of the drought-stricken southern United States. Rain fell elsewhere in the south, however, dousing some of the wildfires that burned 350,000 acres of timber this month. And in West Virginia, arsonists are apparently adding fuel to the fires, making it nearly impossible for firefighters to gain control of the flames. Well, smoke from those fires raging in 13 states had been drifting our way. As you can see, the situation in Albany had improved between 10 o'clock this morning and 2 this afternoon when these pictures were taken. The smoke was blown out to sea by cold, fresh air moving in from the west.
Well, I don't know if we're going to get smoke tomorrow, but Herb says we're going to have a variety of weather. He'll be here to sort it all out for us in just a moment.
Well, folks, get out those shovels. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, false alarm, false alarm. There is going to be a little snow around tomorrow. There's some rain around right now. But again, it's a close call on a lot of snow, but I think we're going to end up with just a few flakes during the day tomorrow. And some of our viewers down in the Catskills, you will have to maybe get a broom out, but the shovels will not be in order. So let's put that idea to rest right away. The high today, 56, the low 41. Right now, it's nasty outside. It's raining in most of the Capital District. Not to the north, though. The current temperature, 41 degrees, 34 is the dew point. The wind is from the west, which continues to bring in relatively colder air, and it looks as though it's going to be a while before it brings in enough cold air for the rain to go over to snow. The barometer is falling right now, and thus far today we've had 0.02 of an inch of rain, a little bit of drizzle at the airport right now, and there were showers right around daybreak this morning as the sun came up about 20 minutes of 7. Let's go to the temperature board, and we'll see that same variety that we saw at 6 o'clock with temperatures to the north at or below freezing, 32 in Messina, 31 in Holton, Maine, but 58 degrees in Philly, 57 in New York City right now, and we've got some variety on the map in addition to the temperatures. It's just cloudy off to the north. You go up to Montreal, and the clouds are breaking up. Most of the mid-Hudson Valley and the lower Hudson Valley, southern New England, rainy and raw right now. And then you find a very sliver-like, thin sliver of snowflakes mixing in with the rain from just about Binghamton down to the hills outside of Williamsport, down toward Altoona, Johnstown, and on to Pittsburgh. And if we take a look at radar, you'll see that the precipitation shield is set up from southwest to northeast. We are on the edge of it, and that's where we're going to stay. The front that has brought the drier air in, swept the smoke out, has slowed down a little bit, and that's why there is this rain occurring. I thought the front was going to move down further to the south during the course of the evening. That brings us into the rain, which doesn't sound good, but it keeps us out of the colder air, so it's going to be a while before it goes over to snow. Let's take a look at the satellite picture, and at 5 o'clock the state was covered with, not with snow, with clouds. Freudian slip there. We go ahead to 10 p.m. and you can see the clouds have shifted a little bit to the north, and there's that little bit of an S-curve, which is found when you have a storm that's starting to develop. The storm center itself, though, still way down here in Dixie, and it is raining out of these clouds, and the folks in the southeast are very happy about that. As we just showed you, some parts of the southeast have had some relief from the forest fires with the rains falling, and this shield will be moving to the east and perhaps dousing some of the fires in the Carolinas during the course of tomorrow. Big trough in the upper levels of the atmosphere, the northern branch and the southern branch getting together, moving to the east and bringing a storm along with it. The low now down in northern Louisiana. It's going to head northeast, and tomorrow I think we're going to get enough cold air in here so that we will have some light snow, but the bulk of the water, the moisture, is going to go out to sea to our south. So any snow we have should be light and intermittent. In the Catskills, an inch or two. That should do it, but it's a close call. Stay tuned. Let's take a look at the details of the forecast. After tomorrow, there's no problems. Tonight, overcast skies, occasional light rain, and colder than last night, 31 to 36. Tomorrow, the light rain will change to spotty light snow in the morning, 1 to 2 inches in the Catskills, 34 to 39 for a high. Tomorrow night, the snow will be ending, and then it will start to clear up, and it will be cold, 21 to 26 during the day on Wednesday. Some patchy cloudiness in the morning, especially off to the southeast. The sun will be out by afternoon. It will be cold for November, 34 to 39. And the extended forecast calls for the temperatures to turn milder the second half of the week. So if you're headed for New York City tomorrow, lots of rain down there, and also in Boston. If you're headed for Montreal, it'll be sunny. Let's talk about snow. We'd like your guess for the date and time of the next 6-inch snowfall at the Albany County Airport. Put your guess, your name, your address, and your phone number on a postcard. And you only get to send in one postcard. You send in 2, then we'll have Mac pick your favorite team to win the Super Bowl. You must have a November postmark or a postmark before the snowfall. Send it to 13 Snow Game, P.O. Box 4035, Albany 12204. And our grand prize includes a weekend for 2 at the Bromley Sun Lodge on the slopes at Bromley Mountain.
I noticed you say that when Mac's not here to defend himself.
Mac picked the Patriots to win last night. The other day when I talked to him, that hemlock lip strikes again.
He's coming in. I'm going to let him deal with you. Thanks, Herb.
Okay, Mac for the defense.
Well, if Herb's talking snow, the return of winter must be just around the corner. And in Albany, you might be able to tell that by the return of a familiar visitor. Our cameras caught up with this snowy white owl today on the corner of Quail and Sherman Streets. The owl, or at least one of his relatives, has been in the area in past winters. NCON officials say he probably flew here from his native Canada. They also say he is relatively harmless and is just in search of food or perhaps a change of scenery. Two noble pursuits, I think, Ed.
I certainly would agree. The Knicks played their home opener against the fearsome Boston Celtics tonight. Mac has highlights and a whole lot more, maybe some predictions coming next. Sports, Mac takes a lot of heat over his predictions, but the truth is the Knicks played the Celtics tonight, and no one, not even Mac, thought the Knicks would beat the Celtics.
That's absolutely right, although, you know, it's interesting. The Knicks play them tough in the Garden. They beat them twice there last year, and tonight, Boston came in, it was tailor-made.
You want to predict the Knicks will win the next game?
Oh, no. I would never predict the Knicks against anybody. But anyway, listen, they had no McHale tonight, right?
All right.
Larry Bird had probably the worst game I've ever seen him play, and Boston still ran away at the end. So what are you going to do? If the Knicks were going to beat them, certainly this was the night. But they couldn't do it. The Knicks are just bad. Plain and simple, a horrendous basketball team. Bird couldn't hit anything tonight. Horrible game. He sent up 18 shots, hit only 5. But Danny Ainge picked up the slack in a 96-87 win. He dumped down a couple of sweet three-pointers on his way to a 21-point night. Parrish added 20. Knicks were down 25 in the third quarter, managed to battle back behind Patrick Ewing with a power move here, and the rookie, Mark Jackson. Look at Jackson here with the steal and the score. This was the best game he's had yet as a pro. Knicks got it down to 7 when Bird came up with a block. Down it went to Ainge for the bucket, and that was it. New York never got any closer. The Celtics stayed perfect at 3-0. Knicks now a miserable 0-3. In the National Hockey League tonight, nothing miserable about Quebec. They beat Boston 6-4, and Montreal a winner 3-1 over Toronto. Well, UPI's Board of Coaches out with their college football top 10 tonight, and once again, powerhouse Oklahoma is numero uno. But their lead over runner-up Nebraska is the smallest it's been all season long. In fact, the Cornhuskers got 10 first-place votes this week. Holding firm in third place is air-minded Miami. Got to watch them, followed by Florida State and UCLA. Syracuse has the second 5 up 2 notches from last week. Rounding it out, Notre Dame, Georgia, Clemson, and Alabama, y'all. Alabama leveled LSU Saturday night, dropping the Tigers from number 5 all the way down to number 11. Well, no word yet tonight as to whether the Phillies have been able to re-sign Mike Schmidt. They have until midnight. If they haven't come to terms by then, it's expected he'll become a free agent. By filing for free agency, Schmidt protects his right to go to arbitration. He had another terrific season, hitting 35 homers and driving in 113 runs. Reports out of Philly, by the way, that Schmidt is very close to signing a new 2-year deal with the club worth an estimated $2.5 million a season. That would make him the highest paid player in the game. Jim Rice is right now at $2,400,000. Well, we're not far away from the start of another high school basketball season. There are a lot of good teams this year, and one of them is Colony, as Rodger reports.
Yes, it's only preseason, but if you're looking for a favorite in the Suburban Council this year, Colony may be the team.
Well, I certainly feel this will be one of our better teams. We'll be most competitive this year. We have some excellent players coming back.
Among the excellent players returning are 6'3" senior Faye Richardson and 6'2" junior Dave Gamble.
David, I think, could be the best defensive player I've had the opportunity to coach. He's very quick, very athletic, and I'm hoping that he'll be the defensive stop on the front court for us.
At 6'5½", Faust is also counting on senior Steve Thomas. But Gamble, Richardson, and Thomas are just 3 players on a team with plenty of depth.
I think if we have one major strength, it will be our overall team depth that we have this year.
Colony should be among the best in the Suburban Council. Rodger Wyland, 13 Sports.
Thanks, Roger. And finally, Jets over Seattle 2014. They're in the 4th quarter.
Want to predict that one?
Seattle.
Jets have got it made.
Still to come, 30-minute news. I'm staying out of this. We have hockey, which is never controversial with Ed. It's Alaskan style, though. We'll have all the details when we return. Efforts to restore the carousel recently purchased for the city of Saratoga Springs got a boost today from some Queensbury students. More than 200 fourth-grade students at Queensbury Elementary organized a bake sale last month to raise money for the carousel committee. Today, the group handed over a check for $500 plus. That's a lot of cookies and brownies. That money will be used to restore and house the Illions Carousel that used to stand in Cateros Park.
Finally tonight, you would think the people in Alaska would be satisfied with the amount of ice that nature gives them for free. Well, not Rich Kern. He went out and spent a whole lot of money on ice for his den, and the ice isn't even real.
Those are hockey sounds, all right. Must be some kind of newfangled arena, eh?
Goalies, hockey ready?
Nope, just the Kerns at play. Yes, they play hockey inside their house, right here in the den. Rich Kern put the rink in. His 4 boys just can't get enough of it. The surface is Len Ice, a high-tech plastic. Put on a glide solution, and it's perfect for the kids.
Go!
The rink isn't very big, 12 feet by 40 feet, but it's a good size for teaching, says Rich. In his words, it forces the move.
If you have a large hockey rink, a lot of kids in this younger ages want to skate the whole distance and then try it at the end. Where here we have a very specific course, specific instructions, and they have to do it within so many feet.
Now, you may think Rich Kern is spoiling his boys. He says it's not so. If they want ice time, they have to earn it. And if they keep on earning that ice time, Rich Kern says they'll just get better and better. Trouble is, the boys will soon outgrow their home ice. Their father already has plans to make it bigger. In Anchorage, John Hernandez for NBC News.
Get those guys a scholarship.
To where?
Let's see. Somewhere maybe that you went to once.
Yeah, a school that plays good hockey.
I'm hearing an R.
Yeah, I just heard her say Clarkson.
Let's see, he's made Mac angry tonight. Now he's got you. Anything you want to say to me tonight, Herb? Wow. That is our late report. Thanks for joining us.
We'll be back here tomorrow with the new weather and probably a new sports guy. Hope to see you then. Have a good night.
Good night.